Hello, this is Jeremy Lewis again. This time we're going to be talking about section 1.2 of the initial long form survey data and going through all that. The first thing that we'd like to talk about is obviously the first one: students and their parents describe our school as a safe place. But before I get into that, I probably need to say here, like I said on the previous video, that we issued all of our surveys via Google Forms to get our data back. We missed the initial offering that the state sent, so a couple of the questions might have been left off, and some of our data might not be exactly where we need it to be. But we've taken steps to get that and move ahead in our process. So we're very excited about trying to become a level 1 certified high reliability school. I know that our teachers, our admin, and our other staff have worked really hard putting some policies and procedures in place, and that we're excited about that and moving into level 2 as well. So getting started on the first one, 1.21, students and their parents describe our school as a safe place. On the admin, faculty, and staff survey, I'd mentioned that we had sent our own surveys out. We combined the admin with the faculty and staff, so we only have 3 sets of data to look at. But anyway, on that first one, from the admin, faculty, and staff, we had a mean score of 2.51, a mode of 3, and a standard deviation of 1.44. On that same question for parents, we had a mean score of 3.4, a mode of 4, and a standard deviation of 1.4. And then for students, we had a mean score of 3.2, a mode of 3, and a standard deviation of 1.8. Overall, we had a 45% rating, if you will, of people who agreed or strongly agreed with that statement about our school being a safe place. We'll get into that in just a second. On 1.22, students and their parents describe our school as an orderly place. On the admin, faculty, and staff survey, we had a mean score of 2.31. We had a mode score of 3 and a standard deviation on that one of 1.35. On the parent survey, we had a mean score of 3.4, a mode of 4, and a standard deviation of 1.3. And then on the student survey for that same question, we had a mean score of 2.9, a mode score of 3, and a standard deviation of 1.03. I'd said in the previous video when we were talking about 1.1 that when we met this summer looking through our initial long form survey data with our leadership team in the high school, and we were picking out which of these leading and lagging indicators to focus on and work on, that we decided that we were going to work on the leading indicators overall that scored below 50%. So when you look at these, there are a couple of the lagging indicators on 1.2 that fall below that 50% range, but on 1.1, on 1.21 and 1.22, both of those fall below that 50%. 1.21 at 45% and 1.22 at 39%. However, we believe that with the transition to a new administrative team, that those policies and procedures have been in place. We just needed better communication with everyone, our students, our parents, our faculty and staff, and we needed to make it clear that all of those things were in place. That our school was a safe place and that our school was an orderly place. And when we go back and get some quick data via Google Forms or whatever, those numbers have risen over that 50%. So we've put that proof in our lagging in evidence folder for submission as well. Moving on to the third question, 1.23, students and their parents are aware of the rules and procedures in place at our school. On the admin, faculty, and staff survey, we had a mean score of 2.91, a mode score of 3, and a standard deviation of 1.15. On the parent survey, we had a mean score of 3.6, a mode score of 4, and a standard deviation of 1.3. And on the student survey, 3.9 was the mean, 4 was the mode, and a 0.92 standard deviation. Overall, 52% agreed or strongly agreed that they were aware of the rules and procedures in place at our school. On 1.24, on the admin, faculty, and staff survey, we had a mean score of 1.83, a mode score of 0, and a standard deviation of 1.76. On the parent survey, we had a mean score of 2.1, a mode score of 0, and a standard deviation of 1.9. And on the student survey, we had a mean score of 2.27, a mode score of 3, and a standard deviation of 1.45. 28% agreed or strongly agreed that we were able to use social media to allow anonymous reporting potential problems. As I said earlier, we had a transition in our administrative team, and so that was one of the things that we really wanted to do, especially in today's climate, was to make sure that we were out there on social media and that all stakeholders had anonymous reporting of issues at the school, such as bullying, threats of violence, anything along those lines. And we've issued forms to our teachers that's called a faculty and staff concern form, that they get on there and put things that they have concerns about, and we check that regularly to make sure that we're staying up to speed, because a lot of times people have things that they want to get out there, report, that they don't want to say in a large group meeting in front of everybody. So with the social media and communicating with the teachers anonymously like that, we believe that we've also shored up that lagging indicator, and in fact we've issued new Google Forms. The results are coming in. That form is linked in our evidence folder, and the numbers are really high on that now. So that's an area that we feel was maybe a growth area for us that now is absolutely a strength area. Moving on to 1.25, our school has a system that allows school leaders to communicate with parents about issues regarding school safety. On the admin, faculty, and staff side, we had a mean score of 3.66, a mode of 4, and a standard deviation of 1.6. And on the parent survey, we had a mean score of 3.7, a mode of 4, with a standard deviation of 1.3. So with overall 79% on number 5 agreed or strongly agreed that our school allows school leaders to communicate with parents about issues regarding school safety. On 1.26, school leaders coordinate with local law enforcement agencies regarding school safety issues. We had on the admin, faculty, and staff survey, we had a mean score of 2.37, a mode score of 4, and a standard deviation of 1.94. On the parent side, we had a mean score of 3.5, a mode score of 4, and a standard deviation of 1.5. For overall, 64% agreed that school leaders coordinate with local law enforcement agencies regarding school safety issues. And it should be said here that our school now provides resource officers that are also sheriff's deputies that are on every campus every day. So each campus has a resource officer. So I think that helps in that regard on that lagging indicator. And then finally on 1.27, that one was actually that question was left off of the admin, faculty, and staff. We did get some data from the parents on that one. We had a 2.9 mean score, 4 on the mode, and a standard deviation of 1.7, and that comes out to 47%. But again, that one was left off of obviously the students because it wasn't on their survey, but it was left off the admin, faculty, and staff. So we did have some of those lagging indicators that fell below that 50% criterion score that we had established back in the summer for the leading indicators that we wanted to work on. But we really felt like some of those policies, procedures were in place. We just needed to communicate better. The evidence shows that. And 1.24 about the social media to now allow anonymous reporting, that one is off the charts now as well too. Again, you can see all that in the evidence folder that we've submitted through Moodle. And anyway, we're going to be moving on to the next section.